This is how to build the most efficient and the best on resources bounce elevator in Grounded 2 with the current patch. By the way, we're going to try and do these with every single patch. These have been the designs I've come up with, and they are really, really basic. But they work so well. They work so well. Now, this works with any wall setup except stems. Every time I've gone to use the stem one, it tends to kick me backwards a little bit and be really finicky. So I don't recommend stem walls. I've had issues with it, but the reinforced walls plus the standard walls work perfectly fine. For maximum speed, you are going to want bounce pads on every single level. Okay, for maximum efficiency, you want them on every third level. It is significantly slower, but it still does work. Now, this is consistent across any height. Okay, so that is entirely up to you how much you want to build. This is my final design that I like the most, and the reason I have this staircase set up is because I had issues with the builder-nat. We did this in creative, this does work in survival. And in terms of setting all this up, let's get into it. To do this, you are going to need a wall of any kind except stems, okay? So it does not matter which wall you're using, and it does not matter which orientation you have of said wall. It'll work perfectly fine no matter which way you have it. You are going to need bounce pads at times, however high you want to go. I personally like the 2-wall high setup. I think it works probably the best and has the least amount of issues. Okay, I like it. It's fairly friendly on resources. So that is the one that I would recommend. However, you can put it on every single one and it is significantly faster. Just like that. Pretty fun. If you're building this within a structure, you will need to build all of the walls around it first. Once you place down a bounce pad, you cannot build over the top of them, okay? It will not let you. So just keep that in mind. It won't let you build the walls you want. So make sure you do all of the structure you need before you place the bounce pads. They will be the last thing that you place. So if we're building this inside a structure and we want this inside a wall, we're going to build our walls and our bounce pads are going to go in here. Now we're going to build this up a little bit. Now to build this in survival, you are going to need a staircase set up. I've had issues trying to get things to snap into place. That is one of the most crucial parts of building these bounce elevators. If you can't get the bounce pad to snap in place, you will have inconsistencies in your elevator and it will not work. You need all of your bounce pads facing exactly the same way. Otherwise, you will get launched off in a direction or it will not be consistent. So we've got our walls built. We've got our structure behind there built. We're going to place our flooring wherever we need it. So in my case, every 2. Once we have everything built up to be able to place down our trampolines, you need a very specific layout of the bounce pad. If you don't do it this way, I've had trouble getting it consistent. So there's a really long straight edge on your bounce pad. As you can see, it's the one closest to the wall. We're going to make sure we do that over here. This is why you need the snap to function. If we place it like this, it won't work. So we have to rotate it so that our wall, oh gosh, so that our wall has the longest straight edge up against it. With this, you should be able to walk into the center. I like using these pine needle walls because you've got that center strip that you can look at. You just walk into it. That's it. That's for lining up purposes. Now that we've got one, we're going to add in our other bounce pads and we're going to give this a test. Now, like I said, we're doing these every 2. Copy the blueprint from the bottom one. Once you've got it lined up properly, it shouldn't be too hard to add in the rest of them. Okay, make sure they stay exactly the same at rotation and make sure they place flat. If they don't do either of those things, it is not going to work. That's not right. So see what I mean? See how they don't place particularly well sometimes? Just make sure they're all lined up. That's everything set up. You don't even need these guide walls. You can literally just have this behind a wall in your build. Oh, that's not working. Is this going to be a directional thing? Unless it's these walls. They're throwing it off. Alright, let's try that. There's no way. Well, what I stated before was wrong. You might have to test this out a few different ways. Okay. Okay, cool. Good to know. if you're having issues with the building, sometimes you might have to rotate these trampolines. What I just said, but like the longest line up against the wall, isn't necessarily true all the time. So I take that back. Once we've got our structure built, you can give it a test. Now, this should go to any height. However, sometimes there might be some... This has been the most consistent that I can make it. However, sometimes there are issues where you might miss the first trampoline a couple times, and then you might be good to go again. This has been the most consistent. If you want to alleviate that inconsistency, just keep pressing forward. Real simple. But that's it, everybody. Like I said, works with any wall, works with any setup, should be able to incorporate into your builds pretty well when all you have to do is hide it behind a wall. Okay? But that's it. Jeez, that's insane. That is how to build the best and the 3 different types of efficiency versus speed bounce elevators in Grounded 2. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it worked for you. Have a play with the orientation of the trampolines. That's been the issue that I had just here while building this for this video. Okay, they didn't work the first time. It would bounce me backwards. All I had to do was rotate them 180 degrees and I was fine. Give it a test. Let me know. I want to hear about your successes and your fails. If I can improve this, let me know as well. Tell me your designs. We can make them up as we go, but this is the smallest footprint I could come up with. Good luck with your builds, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a future video here on Grounded 2. Especially when the next update comes out, where we're going to have lots of new stuff to look at and maybe fix. Good luck. Have fun. Bye-bye.